Hello class. Okay, this tutorial is going to be about rotoscoping. Okay, this is Joe's project, I believe. So I'm going to press spacebar here and then H, and then now if I press L to play, we can see that our 3D is supposed to be behind the flag, the tree. Okay, these two flags and the tree. So how do we do this? So essentially we're going to need a layer of the tree and the flags on top of our 3D. So it's going to be so our 3D is going to be sandwiched between our background and then these three elements right here. So how do we set that up? Visually, the most easiest way to set that up is I'm going to create another footage here. So copy paste here, Control C, Control V. Okay, and I'm going to hit tab, type in roto. Okay, so I get a roto node here. Okay, and I can merge this underneath here. So this will be on top of our 3D here. Okay, now what we want to do usually is just look at the tree motion here. So I'm pressing 1 on this roto here, and you mainly want to capture the main keyframes first. Okay, now usually in a walk cycle, when a human walks up and down, you want to get the extreme keys. Okay, so as it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's slight, but you can still see it. So I'll go on one of my extreme keys, like for instance my up here, try to get the most of it, the topmost motion here. Okay, and I'm going to draw my roto, and make sure your overlay is on, which is you press Q. Okay, Q turns off all the things, all the little gizmos and icons that you see over here. You can clear that out here if you don't want to see anything. But if I double click on roto here and I press Q for on, I'm going to draw my first spline here. So let's see here. I think it goes up at frame about 471, 472. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line here. Now there's these little bumps here. We could go in and draw the little bumps here, but that's going to be a lot of work. So I'm just going to try to just get some details here. Okay. And I'm going to make note where my my knots are, or my vertex. Okay. That's important because every frame, these have to be exactly where it is. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of jitter and jumping. Okay. So, you know, this knot here has to be here at every frame. Okay. And then I'll give some extra here. Okay. So that copies. So, on every frame, this vertex here has to be at this wood knot here. Okay, so and then here has to always be safe. Okay, it has to be, say, right here. Okay, and I'm going to press the arrow forward or backwards, and I'm going to try to find the next keyframe. Okay, so when it goes down the most. So I think here. So if you look at this overall frame here, it goes down like that. Okay, so then I drag and select everything here, and I will attempt to move it as much as possible. So this will be right there. Okay. You see this should be out here a little bit, so we can pull this out just a little bit here, move it over. So it's going to change a little bit from frame to frame. That's because maybe of the perspective change, or Uh, it could be rolling shutter, many reasons. Uh, okay, but we have to make sure that these vertex positions are consistent from frame to frame. Okay. Okay. And we want to try to get as close as the edge as possible. But sometimes if you're in a rush, a dirty little secret is it's sometimes better to go a little bit in than out, because if you go too much out here, you can start to see the white bleed into your scene. Okay. All right, and I'm going to do a couple more frames here. So this was at the down. You see this blue keyframe, and it's going to go back up. Okay, so I think peak up is somewhere around here, and then it goes back down. Okay, so that's the walk cycle. Okay, and again, I'm going to try to match that with here. Okay, you can see it's kind of shifting and getting bigger. I believe that's because we're walking closer to the tree, so the tree's getting bigger. Okay, you can grab it on the corner here to rotate. Okay, let's see here. I'm scroll wheel mouse to increase or to zoom in. Scroll mouse. Rotoscoping is one of the most tedious tasks in VFX. One of the most important things needed, but yet one of the works that everyone dreads. I don't have to be perfect down here because I don't have anything 3D going down here. Okay. Okay. Okay, you guys get the picture of this up and down, the main keyframes, right? And after that, what we do is we go in between these frames and we try to find the frame that has the most disconnect with the original. So if I go here, that's not too much. Maybe one more frame over. Okay, this frame here seems to be where it has the most change. Okay, so 2 frames after maybe. So it's usually somewhere in between or a little bit after. Then I've just moved this over. Now it should scale-wise fit because the software automatically calculates from here to here. So this should be somewhere in between, and you see that fits. And then we go a couple frames over, and there's a slight change over here. So I'm going to go back up a little bit. It's somewhere here that the most change happens. So I'm going to move this over here a little bit, and we just perfect it. Now generally for something like this you need about 2 or 3 keyframes in the middle if it's just a walk cycle. For more complex motions like finger, hand animation, or hair, then you have no choice but to do every frame by frame. Okay, so from here to here it looks like it's covered. We might need to go in to do a little bit more. I'm going to go back up this way here to see if there's anything needed. Okay, so that seems to be good. Alright, so the next step now is let's press spacebar here, and if I press 1 on this merge here, you'll see that it's not fitting somehow. So one of the things is I need to do a reformat here. I could have done it before and then roto, or after, but since I did the rotoscope before, then I have to do the reformat after. So select this, copy, paste here. Okay, so you see that my tree is before my 3D. Now when you do this though, the alpha channel is not going through well. So on this roto node here, I'm going to double click on this roto node here, and for p-multiply I'm going to click on RGBA. Okay, and so that should be it. And if I hit Q to turn off my viewport gizmos, I can see now going forward, that's my rotoscope. Now, it's a little bit off here, so what we might have to do is go in between these frames and fine tune it. Okay, so I'm going to double click on my roto here, okay, and then press Q here to get my roto, and I'm going to move these back in and fine tune it. So this was a little bit off here, okay. And sometimes if your edges are a little bit blurry due to depth of field or motion blur, you can turn on motion blur here or turn on some feathering here, see, like that, okay. But see, but in this case I'm going to not turn on my feather here. It's pretty sharp here, okay. And then again press Q here. So and I'm pressing Q on and off to test my edges here. Okay, so something like that, and then okay, I have a little bit of leakage here. Q and okay. See, so it's very important. I can't stress enough how these vertex have to follow from frame to frame. Otherwise, it looks like the edge will be marching or boiling, and that's the worst thing rotoscope artists can do. Okay. So back and forth. See. So now the tree looks like it's in between. Now the flag, we'll probably have to do frame by frame forward instead of the keyframe method because the wind is not following the walk cycle. Okay, so you can create another one, or we can go ahead and create our rotoscope here. Okay, and I'm going to go back to this here. Okay, oh, really off here. Okay, and let's go back here. So, and that should be it. And then you do the same thing for the flag here, and you just keep going. Okay, go a couple frames forward. Right there. Okay, move this here. And when I work, I have one selected here, and then maybe two over here. See, 1, 2, so we can turn on and off and work. That's the cool thing about Nuke here, is these dynamic hotkeys. Okay, this flag, since it's waving a lot and your eyes can't catch it, you don't really have to be accurate. It's best practice too, but when it comes down to some motions that move a lot like this, then the vertex position of this doesn't really have to be that accurate, because we have to do frame by frame anyway. See? So your eyes are more forgiving when the motions are moving rapidly like this, versus the tree where it's just moving slowly and steady up and down. Your eyes can catch the edges a lot easier. Okay. Oh, okay. So, okay, so that's basically it.